everyone! Which country are we going to explore today? Oh, I misspoke. Which region are we going to explore today? Today, we are heading to Latin America. The country that is geographically farthest from Korea is none other than Argentina in Latin America. This distance means that Korea and Latin America are quite far apart in physical terms. However, despite the geographic distance, Korea and Latin American countries have maintained close ties over many years. In 1959, South Korea established diplomatic relations with Brazil, the first among Latin American countries. Then, in 1962, it extended diplomatic relations to 15 more Latin American countries. And in the 1980s, diplomatic relations were established with 32 Latin American countries. And finally, in 2024, South Korea established diplomatic relations with Cuba. And in Latin America, K-culture is very popular. K-pop, K-food, K-dramas. Many people are captivated by the charm of Korean culture. But also in Korea, there are many diplomats working hard to strengthen ties between Korea and Latin American countries. So in this week's episode, we are going to meet some of them. Our first destination is Goyang, Gyeonggi-do Province. Where am I right now? Well, let's head inside and take a look. This is the Latin American Cultural Center in Goyang, Gyeonggi-do Province. Founded in 1994, it is Asia's largest Latin America-themed cultural space. Here, you can enjoy around 3,000 cultural artifacts from Latin America, including ancient relics from the Maya, Aztec, and Inca civilizations, artifacts of Latin America during the Spanish colonial period, folk items, and even works by contemporary Latin American artists. And there is actually a special reason why I came here today. The reason why we are here today is to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Latin American Cultural Center. At this point, I'd like to introduce two very important people. These are the founders of the Latin American Cultural Center. Director Lee Bok-kyung was posted as first secretary and consul at the South Korean Embassy in Mexico in 1967. After that, he also served as a diplomat and ambassador in 4 Latin American countries until 1993. They lived in Latin America for over 30 years, where they continuously collected ancient relics and contemporary art sculptures from the region. After retiring, they invested their personal funds to establish this center, displaying the pieces they had gathered over the years. This place is more than just a museum. It has an art gallery, a religion exhibition hall, and a sculpture park. In addition to their own collection, they also showcase pieces donated by various Latin American countries, offering visitors a chance to experience the diverse charm of Latin American culture. As I looked around, I became curious. Establishing a cultural center isn't an easy decision. What inspired them to create this place? I decided to ask the director this question.
Well, I retired from the long diplomatic service in 1994. During that time, I spent most of my ambassadorial post in Latin America. We had a lot of collections. So after we retired, we decided, after discussing with my wife, why not set up a museum? That's the whole thing, to introduce Latin America to the people of a country so that their view toward the upward world will be larger, you know. Some say they don't have to go to Latin America if you come here and go around, because we have a large collection, one and only, not only in Korea, but I think in the whole Asia.
Having spent nearly 30 years as a diplomat in the Latin American region, and even establishing the Latin American Cultural Center in Korea, there was one thing I felt I must ask him. How significant is the relationship between Korea and Latin American countries?
We are the nation, one of the nations, perhaps which has a larger dependency on having good relations with outside. So Latin America is very important on our national security and commerce and investment, of course. And as they have a rich natural resources, which we don't have it, and as the number of Latin American countries is 32, on the international issues, when we need the support, their vote, you have 33 votes, you know, who have consistently helped us. Cuba was the only country which desisted. But recently, as you know, we established relations. We have a Cuban representative in Korea.
This cultural center also collaborates with Latin American embassies in Korea a lot. In this way, the center serves as an active hub for cultural diplomacy, which is why many ambassadors have come today to celebrate the 30th anniversary.
I want to express my congratulations for Ambassador Lee, his family, for this initiative. The center is a bridge of culture for Korea and Latin America, and I hope these 30 years became also 30 years strained relation Korea and Costa Rica, and Latin America, of course.
So how do you think the Culture Center contribute to our bilateral relations?
You know, the culture are the bridge for people to people. Here, when Koreans arrive to visit this center, I think they take some of our culture and bring with them, as we appreciate Korean culture, K-pop, Korean food. This exchange of culture is a way to increase this relation.
I'm very proud to be here celebrating this anniversary, because I think in this Gorgos Museum there is an important treasure from Venezuela. There are 3 important pieces from Victor Sala. Victor Sala is an artist from Venezuela that belongs to the artists that represent the kinetic art in Latin America. Many Venezuela, they didn't know the history of Victor Sala, because he was living here in Seoul, and he made this art here in Seoul, in this museum, during the period he was living here in Korea. It will be interesting to show to the Venezuelan people through your program the pieces of art of Victor Sala. So it is very, important. It gives me a lot of pride to be Venezuelan and to know that the art of the Venezuelan people is very valued here in Korea.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, thank you.
a small ceremony celebrating the anniversary took place.
오래간만에 좋은 날씨, 가을 날씨에 나들이 왔을 생각하시고 천천히 보시고 많이 즐기시기 바랍니다.
사실 우리 고향 특례시의 이 국민 삶의 질의 향상과 문화 발전에 이바지하는 큰 뜻이 담긴 공간입니다. 이 자랑스러움은 이루 말할 수가 없을 정도입니다.
With 30 years of experience in Latin America and now connecting Korea and Latin America through the Culture Center, the founders and their family truly embody the essence of a diplomat.
This center is a basic, absolutely fundamental instrument for cultural exchange between Latin America and Korea. The permanent exhibit, the museum that we have here to our right-hand side, is in fact an installation that houses and hosts artwork from almost all of the Americas. They have brought this collection to Korea, later acquired other works for their garden with sculptures. Some of the very best sculptures of the best sculptors of Latin America are actually distributed around that garden. And so Koreans who visit this exhibit become familiarized with the artistic traditions of Latin America.
Why do you think culture exchange between countries are important?
I think it's crucial, actually. Cultural exchange basically allows us to do two things. It allows us first to establish connections with other people, because culture also human culture always has common roots. So that's basic, so that we can identify others as ours. At the same time, it does cultural exchange, exactly the opposite function. It allows us to identify diversity and differences between our own culture and those cultures of others, and allows us then to appreciate difference as something positive.
So one way people from different cultures can truly respect each other and discover the similarities and differences between their cultures is through cultural exchange. I have one more thing to share with you. To celebrate the 30th anniversary of the center, a special exhibition was held. It is an exhibition by a Mexican artist named Lino Chavez. First, let us briefly introduce who Lino Chavez is.
Lino Chavez is a renowned Mexican sculptor and painter. Born in 1967 in Mexico City, he drew significant inspiration from his artistically inclined family. He graduated from the National School of Plastic Arts in San Carlos, Escuela Nacional de Artes Plásticas San Carlos, and earned a diploma in art history from the University of the Cloister of Sor Juana, Universidad del Claustro de Sor Juana, in 2006. Since his first group exhibition in 1983, Chavez has actively showcased his work through solo and group exhibitions.
So, would you like to take a look around the exhibition with me? The first thing that caught my eye was the intense use of colors in the artwork. Then I also noticed that many of the figures in the paintings were playing music. I thought that perhaps these figures, each with their unique appearance and color, might be performing the beauty of life. I was fortunate enough to have a chance to talk with the artist.
Ahorita nos referimos mucho a cuentos de un mexicano, porque yo creo que la literatura, la filosofía, el cine, yo los veo como un cuento dentro de todo lo que nos están expresando ellos, ¿no? Entonces yo a través de las pinturas, por medio de los colores y las formas, trato de crear un cuento para poder que la gente lo disfrute. Y trato de que el color y la forma rompa el silencio de una pintura, ¿no? Que tal vez las notas que están ahí a través del color se pueden escuchar.
I learned something surprising during our conversation. The founders of this center knew Lino from when they lived in Mexico.
Fue una experiencia muy padre porque yo hace tal vez como 20, 30 años conocía a la mamá del señor John. Cuando yo estaba en una época en que hacía unas esculturas completamente diferentes a la de ahora, entonces fue la primera relación que tuvimos ahí. Ahí surgió la amistad para tratar después de mucho tiempo planear esta exposición ahorita.
Perhaps because of this connection, a few of his early works are on display at the Cultural Center. I thought that it is quite a remarkable story. The fact that the founders formed a bond with this Mexican artist when he was young, and now, years later, he's holding a solo exhibition at this center. Hosting a special exhibition of a Mexican artist at this Latin American Cultural Center. I'm sure it holds special significance for the Mexican ambassador as well.
Una característica del arte mexicano es el color, el que transmitimos emociones, los grandes formatos. Y en ese sentido, la obra de Lino es una obra muy mexicana, pero que además representa un puente importante entre México y Corea. Son los sueños de un mexicano en Corea.
So is this your first time visiting this center, and what is your impression about this center?
No es la primera vez que lo visito, déjeme le platico que recién llegué, a los pocos días de haber llegado, me tocó visitar el centro y pues quedé sorprendido porque encontré un pedazo de América Latina, de México, en este centro, un lugar que vibra y que es un gran puente entre la cultura coreana y la cultura mexicana. Déjeme decirle que como ciudadano del mundo estoy maravillado de este centro.
After exploring this place and talking to various people, I realized once again how significant a role this cultural center plays in bridging Korea and Latin America. And just like the wishes of many who cherish this place, I hope that the Latin American Cultural Center will continue to be here for a long time, narrowing the physical distance between Korea and Latin America. This week's episode isn't over yet. We still have more places to visit. Our destination today is... That is right. After a 5-hour drive from Seoul, we've arrived in Busan. When you think of Busan, what comes to mind? The sea? Port? Seafood? You're right about all of them. But today, the reason we came to Busan is because of movies. Busan is also known as the city of film. Did you know that?
Busan has earned its title the City of Cinema for several reasons. First, it's the birthplace of Korea's first film production company, established in 1924. It's also home to the Busan Film Studio, the nation's largest indoor studio dedicated to film production. When you think of Busan, one big event likely comes to mind: the Busan International Film Festival, the largest international film festival in Korea. Each year, it brings together filmmakers from around the world. Moreover, many notable films have been shot in Busan. These include Korean blockbusters with over 10 million viewers, such as Ode to My Father, Haeundae Tidal Wave, and 12/12 The Day, as well as Hollywood hits like Black Panther. In addition, the relocation of the Korean Film Council to Busan in 2013 and the Korean Academy of Film Arts in 2018 further solidified Busan's image as a cinematic hub.
Our destination today is right here, the Busan Cinema Center. Why did we come here? So this is the venue, where the 2024 Latin American Film Festival is held. The festival is hosted by the Busan Cinema Center and supported by the Korean Council on Latin America and the Caribbean and 12 Latin American embassies. A lot of people, including Latin American ambassadors, have already gathered here.
I think that one of the main points is here try to show and screen our Latin American movies. In concrete, in particular, the case of Argentina, we screen Tonos Mayores, is the movie that was chosen to screen in this opportunity. It's a way of exchange the way of making movies in Argentina and making movies in Korea. It's very important, this festival.
We insist that this was a wonderful idea because it's an opportunity for us, the countries, to show the Busan people about our region. No? And this is particularly very symptomatic this month, no? Because in less than a month, President Yoon Suk-yeol is going to travel to Latin America. He's going to be in Peru for the APEC summit and also an official visit, and later he will be in Brazil for the G20 meeting. So this is really a very nice opportunity for everyone.
We expect that the Korean people learn more about the cinema of our region of Latin America and can appreciate our cultural industry, that is the cinema, is a very huge industry in the region. Uruguay now has many years of constant production of films. We expect that people can learn more about our region through films.
Now, it is time for the opening ceremony to begin.
이 영화제는 각국의 역사와 문화 그리고 사람들의 이야기가 담긴 작품들을 통해서 라틴 아메리카의 풍부한 유산을 소개하는 매우 중요한 자리입니다.
The Chilean ambassador also gave a speech.
안녕하세요.
Chile is the guest country of honor for this year's Latin American Film Festival.
Este segundo festival también dice ser la puerta para que más películas latinoamericanas estén presentes en el Busan International Film Festival. Hasta la fecha, solo una película de nuestra región ha sido galardonada. Me refiero a The Boss, Anatomy of a Crime, de Sebastián Schindel, de Argentina, que en 2004 ganó el Flash Forward Audience Award. Ojalá veamos más películas de nuestra región en exhibición.
The 2024 Latin American Film Festival featured 12 films recommended by 12 Latin American embassies.
The Brazilian film that we are showing this year is a very nice, very entertaining movie about two boys that formed a band, a group, a musical group, and went on together to become very famous. I do hope that we are having it again. This is the second edition, so we definitely should have a third. And we already have a very good idea of the film we would like to show, because this is the Brazilian film that has been appointed as our candidate to the Oscar. It is called You Are Still Here in Portuguese. It's a film by a big, famous Brazilian film director, and I hope we can show it here.
But how did the festival start in the beginning? I became curious. So I decided to talk with the president of the Busan Cinema Center.
먼저 이제 중남미 영화제가 언제부터 이곳에서 열리게 됐고 또 이제 영화제가 갖는 의미에 대해서 짧게 설명을 부탁드릴게요.
부산을 좀 세계에 많이 알려야 되겠다. 그래서 중남미 영화제를 작년부터 기획을 하게 됐었어요. 그래서 작년에는 이 8개국 대사님들이 오시고 한 15편 정도의 작품이 상영이 됐는데 그때 관객들의 반응이 너무 좋아서 좌석 점유율이 한 60% 정도까지 올라가더라고요. 그래서 올해는 좀 더 크게 하자. 그렇게 해서
네.
12개국 대사님들이 오시고 12편의 색다른 영화가 선보이게 되는데 시민들이 우리가 새로 접하는 외국 영화들을 보니까 호기심이 많고 굉장히 좋아하세요. 또 영화라는 것은 그 사람들의 삶을 이야기하는 것이니까 그분들을 이해하는데 중남미를 이해하는데 많은 도움이 되지 않을까 싶습니다.
Pero yo qué hago, me quedo acá.
The opening film of this year's festival was When Clouds Hide the Shadow, directed by a Chilean filmmaker.
Una semana y recién ahí vamos a empezar la película. Hola.
Hola, hola, probando sonido, probando.
This film tells a story about an intimate time to survive a wound and heal. But why did the Chilean embassy choose this film?
This is a co-production between Chile and Korea. The producer, it's a movie by director Jose Luis Torres, and he won a prize from Jeonju International Film Festival 2 years ago. So with that prize, they were able to co-produce this film that was premiered in Jeonju in May this year. So it's a co-production, so that we thought it was a good way to present to the Korean public here in Busan this film.
Since I'm at a film festival, I have to watch a film.
A partir de este momento entra en efecto el toque de queda establecido por el estado de emergencia. Aglomeraciones con personas.
This was my first time watching a film from the Dominican Republic. I have never been to that country, but as I watched the film, it was fascinating to notice culture and social similarities and differences between Korea and the Dominican Republic. Also, I came to think of that films are something that anyone can easily access without barriers. So, I thought it would be a great medium for cultural exchange. Do you think the ambassadors would agree with my thoughts?
How effective movies are spreading cultures to international audiences compared to other mediums?
It's a very cost-effective, to be very frank also, but we have very good cinema directors and actors and actresses in Chile, so it's also a very good way to promote our actors, our artists, but also a very good way to promote our country, our history, our landscape. The movie that we are presenting in this film festival, it takes place in the very south of our country, actually the southernmost city in the world. So it's a very dramatic sceneries, it's a very beautiful landscape. So I think people are going to enjoy not only the story, but also the surroundings and the scenery.
In my opinion, film is the most perfect of all the fine arts because it combines everything. It combines literature in the script. It combines photography. It combines acting. It combines decoration. So it's all the arts in one is film. So whatever comes out in a film, and if the film has good distribution, it's fantastic because it really reaches out and can change the perceptions of people. Korea is very much in fashion thanks to the Korean wave of this culture that you're sending to the world so successfully. It's the most perfect art, it's very influential, and for Korea has been a means to reach the world and become, a country that's very much in fashion everywhere.
Many people had also visited the festival, and I wondered about their thoughts after viewing Latin American films.
즐겁게 잘 봤습니다. 예.
좀 인상 깊었던 장면이
인상 깊었던 게 마지막에 구름이 이렇게 그래가 자기 엄마한테 뭐를 맡긴다는 거 그게 인상 깊었어요.
그 중남미 여행도 가고 싶고 또 버킷리스트 중에 하나인데 마침 이 중남미 영화제를 해서 뭐 이런 문화를 좀 이렇게 접하고 싶어서 제가 참여했습니다. 제가 이제 직접 가지 못하지만 이 이제 영화를 통해서 이 문화를 접할 수 있잖아요, 항상요. 그래서 그런 도움이 될까 싶어서 지금 영화를 많이 봅니다.
I hope that more people join and then we can make this thing bigger. We have many good film productions in all Latin America, and I mean Latin America is pretty big, so we have many countries and many other productions to show, and I think that could be very interesting to Korean viewers.
In addition to the film screenings, the festival also provided time to increase understanding of the Latin American region. One of them was a lecture on the history of Latin America, and I decided to listen to it.
사실 아메리카 대륙에도 고대 문명이 존재했고 우리에게 잘 알려지지 않았지만 세계적으로는 좀 많이 알려진 데가 있어요. 그래서 그게 마야 문명이에요. 또 한 번 얘기하고 싶은 건 뭐냐면 이쪽에 있는 아지텍 문명이에요. 고원의 문명. 멕시코 시티가 해발 2,300m인데 대부분의 문명들을 보면 그다음에 중요 도시들을 보면 라틴 아메리카는 다 그 고원지대에 위치해 있어요.
It is a place with a very long history. But even if it is just a brief summary, it felt like some of the questions I had about the region had been answered. It also made me think that I should learn more about the region. I was also able to interview the professor who gave the lecture. What does he think of Latin America?
도전할 거리가 많은, 그다음에 개척할 거리가 많은 우리나라 사람들한테는 뭔가 거기를 하면 블루오션이다. 뭐 새롭게 하는 데가 뭐 처음이다. 뭐 이렇게 생각하시는 분들도 꽤 많은 것 같아요. 근데 그게 되게 또 동력이 되는 것 같습니다. 그다음에 라틴 아메리카는 워낙 다양한 지역과 나라가 있어서 색깔들이 좀씩 달라요. 아르헨티나라든지 카리브해, 멕시코 다 다르기 때문에 더 매력적인 측면들이 있는 것 같아요.
Today, I met many diplomats who connect Korea and Latin America, and I was able to get a little closer to the region. I could also personally experience that we can exchange cultures in fun ways through various mediums. And through this week's episode, I felt that cultural exchange is essential for people from different cultures to become familiar with each other and respect each other.
We are very old civilizations, proud of our traditions, our artistic manifestations, and movies are part of that. No? So this is one of the easiest ways to get connected with different worlds and different visions.
It makes both people of both countries more close because at the end we are all human beings, so at the end it's all the same.
Exchange culture is in a way of dialogue, is in a way of enrich the culture of each country and enrich the perspective of each people.
What defines a country is the culture. So if we don't get to know our cultures, we don't get to know each other.
Start by visiting nearby museums, art galleries, and movie theaters. As you enjoy the culture of other countries or regions, you will find yourself understanding more about those countries and regions and feeling more familiar with them.
Pachinko. It's the most amazing series I've ever seen. The photography.
My favorite one was The Glory. And my second favorite one was Itaewon Class. And my third favorite one was The Extraordinary Attorney Woo.
I love the series too.
Yes, that one is very, very nice.